Welcome, friends. I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. Welcome to Slow Flow. What I think you'll need to be safe, to enjoy, to get the most out of your practice tonight are a yoga mat that'll give you some frictional resistance, one or two foam or cork yoga blocks. And if you don't have a super stretchy, flexy, bendy body, that's okay. I don't myself. It might be nice to have a strap available. You may not choose to use it tonight, but I find it can be a really nice tool to help us get into stretches when we've got a body that's a little bit less flexy. So pause your recording, roll out your mat, gather up your props, and when you're ready, press play, and I'll meet you on your mat for a slow flow. All right, friends, we're actually going to begin tonight standing. So come to a standing position at the top edge of your mat with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, toes turned out about 12 degrees off center line. Put a micro bend in the knees. Shift the weight into your heels, almost like you had a tail reaching down from the earth behind you and you're pressing more weight into that tail. Let your hands float in front of your thighs. And you can either close down your eyes or you can leave them open with a soft gaze. Start to lengthen out your breath. So I think you'll find here the tendency is the weight scooting forward into the balls of the feet. Keep shifting it back into the heels. Bring your chin to its level with the earth. If you find the chin here either lifted or dropped in towards your chest, bring it level enough that if you had a medium-sized apple, you could hold it between your chin and your throat. Continue to breathe. So this standing Qigong series between each individual component, we're going to use a clearing. So this first time, we'll do it 3 times so you can get a sense of it. Starting now, weight back in the heels, micro bend back in the knees. On an inhale, swim the hands up to shoulder height. And now visualize pressing a ball down to the bottom of a swimming pool. Bring the hands down so that they float in front of the thighs. One more time, 2 more times actually. Circle the hands up to shoulder height. Push the ball down into the water. We'll do this one more time. From this point forward, I'm just going to call this working through a clearing. So work through one more clearing. And then find an apparent pause with the weight in the heels, hands floating in front of the thighs. Now we're going to maintain this same lower body. But start to lift the arms up, bring the fingers forward. So the palms of the hand face back toward your face, tips of your fingers toward one another. Elbows not locked out, but soft, lifted but soft. Arms engaged, shoulders engaged. Weight back in the heels, legs very much engaged. You may even have not a burning, but a lot of muscular engagement in the legs. Soften your gaze again, soften the quality of your gaze. All right, not yet. Maintain this exact same position for now. When I cue you to release the arms, I'd like you to visualize the arms falling down through honey. So nice, soft, slow, until the palms are floating in front of your thighs. Find an apparent pause, and then work through a single round of clearing. Find an apparent pause. And here, knees and heels will stay the same, but on an inhale, start hinging at the hips, chest falls forward toward the thighs, arms lift up toward the stars, even crown of the head falls down toward the earth. And then as you start to inhale, arms fall, torso rises, come back to standing in this high horse pose. Weight in the heels, bend in the knees. Fall forward. And then come up to standing. Continue flowing through this. Now, you can come up with any kind of visual that supports you here. For me, I picture myself every time I'm doing these Qigong pulses as a piece of kelp in a sea forest. Fluid, flowing, being moved by the currents. Finish up the one you're working on right now. And then as you come back to standing, find an apparent pause, then work through a single round of clearing. Straighten the legs a little bit and de-energize the arms. Start rotating your body at the trunk and letting these soft, completely de-energized arms. We talked about these arms in the context of the gunas. We would have to say they were tamasic. So let these tamasic arms just kind of flap so that as you rotate your body at the trunk, the hands come up and they tap maybe up to as high as the backs of the shoulders. All right, keep doing this for now. But to prepare you for where we're going, we're going to do a Burmese Qigong next. And we're going to release something that's not serving us. So for me tonight, it's resentment. But for you, it might be something else. So think about a difficult emotion, something that's been plaguing you that is not serving you now. You'd like to let it go. All right, start to slow your torso, trunk rotations, arms tapping lower and lower, arms moving slower and slower. And then weight in the heels, bend in the knees, palms float in front of the thighs, work through a single round of clearing. Good, you guys, so good. Your next inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Make a fist with your left hand. With your right hand, grip the thumb. Lift your gaze. Bring that thing that you want to let go to mind. When I have you exhale, you're going to vigorously bend at the waist, throw your fingers down toward the earth, and let it go with a ha sound. Visualizing whatever emotional quality you're letting go of being absorbed by the earth. So inhale, lift up, bring that emotion to mind. Exhale, ha, cast it into the earth. Inhale, rise. Left thumb in the right hand. Exhale, cast it into the earth. Ha! Inhale. Cast it into the earth. Ha! Inhale. Cast it into the earth. Ha! Inhale. This time we're going to do a full body clearing. Arms come up all the way over your head. And then start pulling the moon out of the sky down to the floor of the ocean. Let's do this 2 more times. Sweep the arms all the way up over your head. Lift your gaze. Fix on the moon. Hold it in your hands. Bring it down toward the earth. One more time. Work through a full body clearing. Find an apparent pause and then release your hands by your waist. Heel toe your feet together. Sweep your arms up over your head. Inhale right here. Exhale, hinge into a forward fold. Heel toe your feet out to hip distance apart. Put enough of a bend in your knees that your whole belly rests on your thighs. Shift the weight into the balls of your feet, light in the heels. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows or interlacing your hands at the base of your skull. Release your hands down to the earth. Heel toe your feet together. Big toes touch. Leave a space between your heels. From the balls of the feet, shift the weight into the heels. Inhale for a halfway lift. I don't care about straight legs. I care about a straight spine. Exhale, hands down to the earth. Step into a high push-up position just for a breath. Then tap your knees down into the earth. Come into a tabletop. Float your shoulders over your wrists. Float your hips over your knees. Index fingers at 12 o'clock. On an inhale breath, drop your belly down toward the earth. Maybe tuck your toes, but lift your gaze. Open your heart up toward the top edge of your mat. And then as you exhale, press into your hands, press into your shins. Release your chin to your chest as you puff the space between your shoulder blades skyward. Inhale, drop your belly, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Keep flowing through this at the cadence and the pace of your own breath. What I'm looking for here ideally is at least 6 times you work through this cat rolling sequence. And now we're going to start to articulate some movement in the spine in a little bit of a different direction. So after the cat rolling that you work through this time, come into a neutral spine position. Maybe shift your knee to the center of your mat. Step your right leg long behind you. Come up onto the ball of that right foot. Shift your gaze over your left shoulder, back towards your left heel. Press your right rib cage over to the right, or rather the right side of your rib cage. Inhale, come back into center. Release your right knee down to the earth. Right away, go to the center of your mat. Step your left leg long behind you. Shift your gaze over your right shoulder. Press your rib cage over to the right, to the left rather. And keep looking back to your right, maybe until that right heel comes into your field of vision. And maybe it never will here. That's okay. Inhale, come back into center. Release your left knee down. Now walk your hands forward. So you're in a modified high plank, shoulders floating over your wrists. Come all the way down to your belly. First heart opener is going to be Sphinx pose. Slide your hands forward, float your shoulders over your wrists, lengthen your legs long, and then press the shoelace parts of your feet into the earth enough that your knees lift. Soften your belly. Press your index, knuckle, and thumb down into the earth, and then pull your elbows back like you were dragging them back towards your waist. Inhale. Exhale, hands under your shoulder, heart down to the earth. Press yourself up onto your knees through tabletop, child's pose. Bring your big toes together to touch. Press your seat back towards your heels. Reach your arms up over your head. Now, come up onto the tips of your fingers. And with the weight on the tips of your fingers, walk the tips of your fingers forward. Now leave everything else where it is. Drop your hands, wrists, forearms, even your forehead down to the earth. See if you can release your seat even closer down toward your heels. If you can't, it's okay, you're fine. And the fact is, if it's what it takes for you to find ease in your child's pose is to place a block or a bolster under your heart, I would like you to do that. All right, on your next inhale, lift up through tabletop, come into a modified high plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. This heart opener, you could go back to Sphinx or easy cobra, hands under your shoulders. Pull your hands back towards your waist, tweeze your elbows back behind you, press the tops of your feet into the earth. Exhale, child's pose. One breath per movement now. Inhale, rock forward, modified high plank. Exhale, lower your heart down to the earth. Inhale, open your heart, any heart opener of your choice. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, modified high plank. Exhale, lower down to the earth. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, child's pose. On your next inhale, lift back up into tabletop. From tabletop, on an inhale, tuck your toes under your feet. Exhale, press your hips up and back, find downward facing dog. Find movement to warm your lower body. I'm going to pedal the feet out. But it could be something quite different for you. That's also okay. Now, find stillness in your lower body. Let gravity drape your heels down toward the earth. Press down into your index knuckle and thumb. Relax your neck. Press your chest and your belly toward your thighs. Draw your thighs toward your chest and your belly. And then on an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk or step to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press into your feet, rise. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into high plank. Inhale in your high plank. Exhale, knees up or down, lower down to your belly. Hands and arms stay shoulder width apart. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or float to the top edge of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Inhale in your high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, move to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sit back into chair pose, Utkatasana. Now, I'd like to weight in your heels. I'd like your belly button scoop towards your sternum. But as long as you're doing that, you could do this chair against the wall. Or with a straight spine, you could do this chair with your hands in your thighs. Your hands could be at heart center, or your fingers could be reaching up over your head, biceps framing your ears. Now, feet could be together. They could be up to hip distance apart. And you could stay right here or lower your seat another 3 inches down toward the earth. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Good job. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back to high plank, your high push-up position. Inhale, rock forward on your toes, float your shoulders over your wrists. Keep the back of your head buoyant. Exhale, knees up and down, come halfway down. Chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, open your heart. I'm going to take up dog this time. Exhale, downward facing dog. But you could do any heart opener. It doesn't have to be up dog. Could be Sphinx, could be easy cobra. Inhale, lift your right heel up toward the stars. Press firmly through the heel of that right foot. Inhale, lift your right heel any amount higher. Exhale, step the right leg forward up into warrior one. Maybe replacing your right hand with your right foot. Maybe heels are in one straight line. Maybe they're super wide. Hands could be on that front thigh. Heart center. Fingers reaching for the stars. Biceps framing the ears. So tonight I'm going to take a brain cradle. If you'd like to join me in that, interlace your hands at the base of your skull. Press the back of your head into your hands. Squeeze your elbows ever so slightly forward. Keep engaging the legs. Press down into all four corners of your right foot in the pinky edge blade and heel of your left foot. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands down to the earth. Step back into high plank. Options include pressing directly into down dog or flowing through a vinyasa, going from a high plank to a low plank. Any heart opener of your choice. And then meeting us in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your left heel skyward. Turn the toes on that left foot down toward the earth. Relax your neck. Inhale. Exhale, rise into warrior one. Left toes at 12 o'clock. Right toes 8 to 10 o'clock. Hips or shoulders squared toward the top edge of your mat. Any arm variation or back to our brain cradle. Press the pinky edge blade of your right foot even more firmly down into the earth. Continue to breathe. Find some place you can soften. Maybe soften the flesh around your eyes, the quality of your gaze. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands down to the earth. Step back into high plank. And into the down dog. Flow through a vinyasa. Or anything else that your body may be calling for. On an inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale. Move to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale. Forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, low plank. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right heel up toward the heavens. Exhale, rise up into warrior one. Stabilize as you rise. Exhale, release your hands down to the earth. Step back into high plank. And then you chart your own course to downward facing dog, whatever that looks like for you tonight. Inhale, lift your left heel up toward the heavens. Exhale, warrior one. Stable, Secure as you inhale. Exhale, release your hands down to the earth, high plank, and then down dog or flow through a vinyasa. From your downward facing dog, draw in a deep, life affirming breath. Hold it at the top. And then open your mouth. Let it go with a sound. Inhale. Exhale. On an inhale, lift your right heel up toward the heavens. Exhale, step your right leg forward. Tap the left knee down. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. If you're getting compression pain in that left knee, take the time you need to pad up under that left knee. And then engage your left glute. You could have the top of that left foot pressing into the earth or tuck the toe. Either way is right. But engage that left glute. Release your hips forward toward that right heel. All right, we're going to do a twist from here when we transition. So a couple options. You could do a modified simple twist with your left hand on the mat or a block and the fingers of your right hand reaching up for the stars, or hands at heart center, hook the left elbow on the right thigh. Inhale, lengthen along the whole spinal column, crown of the head to the tailbone. Exhale, rotate your hips back to the left as you rotate your heart more to the right. As you inhale, come back into center. Tuck your toes up under your left foot. Lift up into crescent warrior just for a breath. Inhale in crescent warrior. Exhale, open up into warrior two. Pinky edge blade of your left foot now parallel with the back edge of your mat. Right knee may be floating over that right ankle, maybe back a little bit, but preferably not forward. Arms parallel to the earth. Now scoop your belly button towards your sternum. We're looking for that anterior tilt of the pelvis. Press the pinky edge blade of your left foot even more firmly down into the earth. Soften the quality of your gaze. Notice a tendency for the shoulders to want to scoot forward toward that front foot, and then draw them back a line so the joints are plumb. Head is floating over your shoulders, you're floating over your hips. On your next inhale, flip your right palm, let it draw you forward, create some space, and then open up into a peaceful warrior. Left hand may come down that left thigh. You could take a half bind behind your lower back. I'm less concerned with that than with what can you do to open up more space between your right hip and the pinky finger of your right hand. On your next inhale, come back into warrior two. And then we're going to go to extended side angle pose. Right elbow maybe in the right inner thigh. Left hand maybe stays right on that left hip. Or right hand might come down all the way down to the mat or to a block. And you could float the fingers of your left hand up toward the heavens. But I would like you to continue to press the back of your heart into an imaginary wall that's behind your head and shoulders. Bring the fingers of your left hand to life. I'd like them flexed, but not over-flexed. All right, so our legs are more or less set up. We're going to transition to triangle by straightening that right leg. And if you've got a block under that right hand, you might try shifting the block to the outside of that right shin instead of the front of it. Now, the cue that I gave you an extended side angle, do that here as well. That is, press the back of your heart into an imaginary wall. On your next inhale, let your left hand draw you all the way up to standing. Put a little bend in that right knee. Step the left foot forward a footprint or two and change the angle of the toes on that left foot to about 11 o'clock. Interlace both hands in front of your thighs. Straighten that right leg again. Press your hands back into your right hip crease. Find a halfway lift action to the back first. And then hinge forward over that right thigh as you press your hands back into that right hip crease. So the hands are helping that right hip to draw back behind you, hopefully drawing that left hip ever so slightly forward. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands down to the earth. Step your right leg back to meet your left. High plank. And press directly into down dog or flow through a vinyasa. On your next inhale, lift your left heel up toward the stars. Exhale, step your left leg forward. Tap the right knee down, low lunge. So just like the other side, if you're getting compression pain in that right knee, there's nothing particularly meritorious about gritting through compression pain in the joints. And it's not a bridge, it's not a pathway to anything. So pad up under that. Right glutes engaged, release the hips forward. If I thought by causing yourself compression pain, you could somehow strengthen it or get better at bearing that compression pain, I would tell you to just breathe through it. Generally, compression pain isn't causing any kind of structural harm. But it's miserable. It's miserable, and it doesn't help with anything. It's not progressive in any way. All right, so you remember from the other side, a couple of options for the twist. One is modified simple twist, right hand on the mat or a block, left hand reaches for the stars, or hands are heart center, hook your right elbow on that left thigh. Inhale, lengthen along the spine. Exhale, rotate your hips back to the right first, then your heart to the left. Next, inhale, come back into center. Tuck your toes up under your right foot. Lift up into crescent warrior. And then open into warrior two. Take a look down at that left knee. Human tendency here is that lead knee is going to want to cave in toward the big toe. Press it back out toward the pinky edge blade of that lead foot. Just like the other side, press the pinky edge blade of your right foot even more firmly down into the earth. Maybe put a deeper bend in that left knee. If you can do so without the left knee coming forward at that left ankle. If it does, just walk that left foot further forward. Then on an inhale, flip your left palm. Exhale, peaceful warrior. So again, right hand is less important to me than what can you do to create more space along the left plane of your body. Inhale, lift back up into warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. So right away, I'm going to go to left hand on a block, fingers of the right hand floating up toward the stars. Find a gaze that's soothing for your neck, something that's sustainable. Transition to triangle pose. Straighten that left leg. Maybe shift the block to the outside of that left shin. Right now, on an inhale, right hand draws you up to standing. Leave the left foot right where it is. Step the right foot forward a footprint or two. Right toes transition an angle of 1 o'clock. Interlace your hands in front of you. Press them into that left hip crease. Inhale, lengthen out with a long, straight spinal column. Exhale, hinge forward over your left thigh with a halfway lift action of the back. So a pretty straight back here. The job of the hands are to press into that left hip crease, draw the hips gently, the left hip gently back behind you. All right, 3 more breaths here. When we transition, we won't use a vinyasa. I'll just bring you to standing and have you step your right foot forward to meet your left. And we'll do that now. On your next inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, step your right leg forward to meet your left. You stay right there. I'm going to transition to the center of the mat just for demonstration purposes. Eagle hatchling. On an inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, wrap right arm over your left. Open up your right hip. Press the ball of your right foot into the earth. Press the heel of the right foot into the left shin. And then start sitting back into a chair. Stack the joints. If you can, float your head over your shoulders, over your hips. You could stay right here the whole time, or go palm to palm with the hands and wrap your right knee over your left. Right. If you do this, if you take the full wrap with the arms, lift your elbows up to shoulder height, press them forward like you're trying to press them past the top edge of your mat. Find your drishti, find a single point of focus for your gaze, settle your focus and your attention right there. When we unwind, we're going to go directly into tree. So unwind, keep that right hip open, press the sole of the right foot anywhere on the inside of the left leg, which could continue to be the hatchling leg that we started with here too. I might call this sapling. All right. Note the human tendency for that right knee to scoot forward. Press it back toward the back edge of your mat. You can do anything you want with your arms. Hands at heart center. Hands down by your waist. Reverse namaste behind your back. Maybe your tree grows branches or reaches for the sun. Those are all options here. Whatever you've chosen, draw everything down through center. Take a moment, shake your legs out. And then we'll change sides. On an inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, left arm under your right, grab opposite shoulders. Open your left hip, kickstand leg, sit back into a little chair. Stay here, or palm to palm wrap, knee to knee wrap. Lift the elbows, engage both hands, press the forearms forward, and breathe, breathe, breathe. And you probably find there are times where your balance comes really easily. There are times where you struggle. I'm struggling tonight. Okay, unwind directly into tree pose. But I came into the studio a little irritated tonight, and I think I'm carrying some of that irritation onto my mat, which is fine. That's part of why we come onto the mat. The hope is that I leave the irritation and the resentment here. Just like the other side, press your left knee toward the back edge of your mat. Create more space and length between your left knee and your right hip. Release your left foot down, shake your legs out again. And then on an inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, hinge into a forward fold. Inhale to find a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into a high push-up position and tap your knees down to the earth. Lower your heart down to the earth. Bring your hands down by your waist. Palms face the earth right away. Lengthen your legs long right away. On an inhale, drag your belly button towards your sternum. Feel your pubic bone root into the earth. And then exhale, lift the thighs, lift the chest. Keep your gaze where the top edge of your mat meets the floor of your home. And legs could be together, they could be hip distance apart, but engage them as if you were squeezing them together. And try this, because somebody told me they've never been cued this way before. Try pointing your toes down toward the earth to close the hips, flexing the toes back towards your face, and pressing through the heels. Lower down. Flip your palms up to face the sky. Rest your right cheek on the mat. Bring your gaze back to neutral. Flip your palms down toward the earth. Inhale, scoop your belly button to your sternum. Exhale, lift yourself up a second locust. Draw your shoulder blades together as if you were holding a broomstick between them. Lift up any amount higher. And then lower down. Leave your gaze neutral. Put a bend in your knees. Drop your ankles off from side to side, windshield wiper your legs. Then release your feet down to the earth behind you. Draw your hands under your shoulders. Press up through tabletop. Then side saddle your legs off to the side. Come onto your back. Grab a block. Set up as if you were going to bridge. We won't bridge, but set up like we were. So a generous bend in the knees, soles of the feet on the earth. Take the block, place it between your inner thighs as close to your pubic bone as you can bear, and then squeeze the block, squeeze the pudding out of it. Interlace your hands at the base of your skull. On an inhale, squeeze your block, draw your belly button towards your sternum. Exhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders as high as you can. And then pulse up. Exhale each pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay lifted. Shins parallel to the earth. Flex all 10 toes back towards your face. Inhale, squeeze your block, scoop your belly button towards your sternum. Feel your lower back press down into the earth. And then pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay lifted. We're going to stay right here. One more set. Inhale. Squeeze the block. Scoop your belly button towards your sternum. Exhale. Pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Keep your head, neck, and shoulders lifted, but drop your feet down to the earth. Inhale, squeeze your block, scoop your belly button towards your sternum. Exhale, pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Lower head, neck, and shoulders. Release your block. Float your knees over your over your hips rather. Shins parallel to the earth. Flex all 10 toes back towards your face. With your left hand, make a cup. Cup it on your left knee. With your right hand, make a saucer. Press the saucer on your right knee. Now the arms will resist virtually any movement of the legs. Press the left heel forward like you were trying to touch the top edge of your mat. Draw your right knee in like you were trying to touch your right shoulder. Maintain that muscular engagement and continue to breathe. Relax. Good job. Cup with your right hand on your right knee. Saucer with your left hand on your left knee. Press your right heel forward. Drag your left knee back towards your shoulder. Maintain that muscular engagement and breathe. Relax. Good job. Take your right hand, make a fist. Place the fist between your knees. Flex all 10 toes back towards your face again. Use your knees. Squeeze that fist. Squeeze the pudding out of your fist. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squeeze the pudding out of it. And then release your fist. Lower your feet down to the earth. Good job. Either knees to chest or a full body stretch. Whatever's going to feel organic and healing for you here. And then we're going to get into some hip opening. So place the soles of your feet on the earth with a generous bend in your knees. Back to our bridge setup. Hook the pinky edge blade of your right foot on the outside of your left thigh. Option 1, take the heel of your right hand on your right inner thigh, anywhere between the right knee and the right hip, and straighten your right arm. Press that right knee forward, maybe even forward and down toward the top edge of your mat. You can stay right here. If you're getting all the sensation you could possibly want here, don't change anything. Otherwise, take a look between your legs. See that triangle shape you've created? Thread your right hand into that triangle, lift your left foot, interlace both hands on the back of your left thigh. Now flex the toes on your left foot back towards your face. Flex the toes on your right foot back towards your right knee. And this is push, pull. Use the muscles in your deep six lateral hip rotators on the right hip to press that right knee forward toward the top edge of your mat. Use the muscles in your arms to drag your left knee like you were trying to touch yourself on the left shoulder. All right, friends, relax the legs, release the hands, lower the left foot down to the earth, release the right foot down to the earth. Now change sides. Hook the pinky edge blade of your left foot on the outside of your right thigh. Same two options. Maybe here, left hand on that left inner thigh. This might be home for me tonight. This is my prosthetic. That feels like plenty. Or thread your left hand in between, push, pull again. So the push-pull concept doesn't change in this supine figure 4 with resistance, like I'm doing on this side. But it's just the resistance is coming from the immobility of the floor under the right foot. Relax your arms, release your hands from behind that right thigh, lower your right foot down to the earth, release your left foot down to the earth. Now bring your hands under your seat rather. Walk the weight of your upper body onto your forearms. Point the toes, reach them forward. And then feel for like there was an imaginary string tethered around your heart, lifting it up toward the heavens. I'm going to keep my neck long and chin somewhat tucked in toward the chest. The other option here in fish pose is to drop the crown of your head back behind you. But note, if that doesn't feel good in your neck, don't do that. I don't do that anymore. So that's totally up to you. Another option here, hover the feet. And we're flexing and pointing the feet. So like, I've heard these called Barbie toes. The first time I had a teacher tell me to do Barbie toes, I had to ask for clarification. I didn't know what that was. If somebody had said G.I. Joe Kung Fu action grip, I got that. And I get the Barbie toes now. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse at the time. All right, friends, good job. Lower your feet down to the earth. If your chin is not in towards your chest, draw it there now. And then lower yourself down to the earth. Put a generous bend in your knees again, soles of your feet on the earth. Peel your arms out to the side. Walk your hips over to the right. Drop your knees over to your left. Now, in this supine twist, if your body wants more sensation, for a little bit more, shift your gaze out over the fingers of your right hand. For a lot more, straighten your right leg. Let gravity draw that big toe edge blade of your right foot closer down toward the earth. All right, if you shifted your gaze over to the right, lift your gaze back to neutral. If you straighten that right leg, put a bend back in your right knee. Lift your knees back up to center. Scoot your hips over to the left. Drop your knees over to the right. Same two cues. Gaze can come to the left. That'll add a little. Or straighten that left leg, letting gravity draw that big toe edge blade of your left foot down to the earth. In my body, that adds a lot. Too much, I would even say. Bring your gaze back to neutral. Put a bend back in your left leg. Lift your knees back up to center. So I'm going to cue for a happy baby, right? So for me, my baby's happier with my hips elevated on a block. So you can do this on a block or not. Points of performance. Soles of your feet are parallel to the earth. If you drew a straight line from heaven to earth, it would intersect the heels roughly, come down through the knees. And then third point of performance, some action of the arms drawing the knees down toward the earth. That could happen with the hands on the backs of the thighs. That could happen with the hands on the shins, peace fingers wrapped around big toes, which is home for me, where your hands might come out to the pinky edge blades of your feet. If your baby is feeling joyful, by all means, feel free to be a joyful baby rock from side to side. And then from here, friends, make your way into any final resting shape. It doesn't have to look like anything. It could be in your seat, your belly, your back, or your side. For me tonight, I'm actually going to use a gravity yoga pose called block bridge. There's already one block under my lower back. I'm going to lift up, I'm going to place a second block at the lowest height on top of the first, straighten my legs, reach my arms out overhead, and completely de energize my body. Let gravity draw all the tissues down toward the earth. This is right for me tonight. This feels amazing in my back, but it might not be your choice. If you used an ujjayi breath throughout the practice tonight, release that ujjayi breath, come back to a natural breath, and look for a balance of two qualities at the same time, relaxation and alertness. Begin to draw some deeper breaths, and then start to reanimate your body with movement. Maybe find a sequence of small movements to medium sized movements to large movements. And they don't have to look like anything, it's whatever your body's calling for. And there's no great rush, friends. Take the time you need. But I'd like you to start making your way into a fetal position on either side. I would call this a child's sleeping pose. From that fetal position, take 3 or 4 breaths, check in, notice how you're feeling, notice how your body's feeling, but notice too what the quality of your nervous system is like now post practice. And then once again, there's no great rush, friends, but press yourself up into any seated position, right? So hero's pose is fine, lotus is fine, cross-legged seat is fine. Bring the palms of your hands together in front of your face. Rub the palms of your hands together. Float your shoulders over your hips. And then take the heels of your hands, press them in the bottom of your eye sockets. Tweeze your elbows together toward the top edge of the mat. They don't have to squeeze together. And leave your shoulders floating over your hips, but release your forehead forward into your hands. So you have this triangle shape of your arms, a strong triangular shape you've created, supporting the weight of your neck and your head. So palms of your hands are now cupped over the eyes. And that warmth, that heat from the gentle movement, rubbing the palms together as we did, is radiating and pooling into the eyes. With the support of your hands, lift your chin so it's neutral. Take both thumbs, Plug them into the center of the top eye socket of both eyes. Apply a slight upward pressure of your thumbs toward the stars and a slight downward pressure of your chin toward the earth. Bring your chin to neutral, release your thumbs, take the index fingers of both hands, plug them into the bottom center of the eye socket of each eye. Apply slight upward pressure of your chin toward the stars, downward pressure of your index fingers toward the earth. Bring your chin back to neutral, release your fingers. Bring your thumbs to your sternum, hands at heart center. Friends, thank you so much for moving and breathing with me. Thank you for trusting me to guide you through your practice. If you move to do so, bring your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for today. Once again, friends, I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. And great job for working with us through our slow flow. You're doing great. Keep it up.